Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I wanted to take a look at a controversial story that came out maybe a few days ago. It's just another example of, you know, I've liked, visiting Brazil for over 2 decades, but these are things that you just really have to talk about. Once you figure out how the society functions and how people look at things and how they express themselves and about how they feel about certain things, and you get to see, how people really get down. And in my 2 decades plus of just checking out, things according to race in Brazil, I'm just like, how did this country get developed a reputation of having, no racial issues for so long, while everybody around the world was focusing on the United States or, South Africa or whatever. Brazil just kind of snuck under the radar. Oh, this is a country where everybody, all the races just mix, and we don't have those racial problems like you in the US. But like I said, when you pull back the curtain, when you take a look at the history, there's nothing to brag about when you dig deep enough. You don't even have to dig much because these reports come out every single day. And just imagine the racist incidents that happen in Brazil. All of them don't get, reported. These are the ones that just make it into the headlines. You know, the everyday stuff that goes on in the commentary, the jokes that people make, that's stuff that you're not going to see in the headlines every day, even though there's enough that you could report every day where, again, I could have a whole blog just on things that people report that someone said to them or some joke that somebody made, some type of blackface incident. It's just like, again, how did this country have this reputation as not being racist for so long? And then, the thing is, for the while, people think about the United States of the 50s and 60s where, white Americans were just blatantly, openly racist. And, you still do have white Americans who are like that, but, America's come a ways from what the country was like 60 years ago. Okay. Um, and by that same token, it's like I look at Brazil in kind of the same way because people like to say that Brazil has this kind of hidden racism. It's not, it's more subtle. It's not as, blatant as it is in the United States, but I don't really see it that way. You do have subtle hints of racism, but you also have the blatant kind where people say openly what they want to say, and people say some pretty disgustingly racist things from time to time. And again, I'm just talking about those stories that make the headlines, right? Just everyday interactions. We're probably not going to hear about the tens of thousands or millions of just everyday incidents where somebody said something that was like, okay, what you trying to say when you say that? You know what I mean? The incidents that people will always say, well, everybody's here mixed. We all have mixed families or whatever. So how can we be racist? It's very simple. Okay, because two people lay down, or even if people even get married, that doesn't mean that the whiter partner in the relationship still doesn't see himself, herself, and his or her race as being superior to the race that they married. We should know that by now. Um, I don't know if she's a sociologist or anthropologist, but there's a woman who's just she's she's really digging into the racist sentiments and jokes that come out inside of multiracial families. So, just because people bond together and they click and, they have children together, that doesn't automatically mean that one person doesn't feel like the group they're part of is not superior to the group of the person that they married. We've seen incidences like this over and over. If anything, it just proves that just because people lay down together doesn't mean that a society is no longer racist or is not. So some of the stuff that I've seen over the years is just absurd. Some of the things that people say, um, similar to any other country in the world where people make racist jokes about black people, Brazilians have this long history of comparing black people to monkeys, apes, gorillas, and this type of thing. You know, um, They have a long history of always calling a black man or a black woman a macaca or macaco, Portuguese for monkey. You see it all over the internet. If you just, you do a Google search with those keywords and you'll see it, this thing of giving black people bananas, throwing bananas at people. It's Brazilian society is just full of these types of incidents. So, I mean, let's, I've studied Brazil for 23 years. Nobody's going to fool me, even though when I have conversations with people, it's still a thing of, oh, we don't have those problems here. It's like, whenever I hear that, it's just like, okay, let's just change the subject because I don't even really want to deal with this. It's like, there's just too much evidence of this. It was racism in Brazil was covered up pretty well before the internet. But then when the internet came out and people started, just article after article started coming out, there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of articles online that share some racist incident that a black Brazilian was a victim of. So it's like, oh, we don't have those problems. It's like I said, I don't even want to have a race discussion, particularly with white Brazilians, because it always goes in the same direction. Let's just change the subject. Let's talk about something else, or let's not deal with this, The denial is almost, I'm seeing the denial that happens in the United States as well now. And it's like, I'm not a person to say that everything in the world revolves around racism. I'm not going to say that. But when it's clear, let's not just dismiss it. Oh, that didn't happen. You're just you're playing the victim role. Like, okay, yeah. So let's just get into today's story because this is a story that people have been talking about on the internet for the last few days, and it's just I don't like I said I don't like to focus everything on racism, but sometimes stories get so big that I have to say something. There was another huge incident that happened over in Spain sometime last week, and I still haven't gotten to that story. It's involving a Brazilian soccer player that's over in he plays over in Europe. I still got to cover that story, but for now, let's talk about this article: recreational racism. Two white TikTok creators give a banana and a stuffed monkey to black children. Nothing racist about that, right? Let's check out what happened in this story. Okay, so these two white women, two Brazilian white women TikTokers who have a huge influence on TikTok, and I guess it was kind of like a practical joke. They let me just read the story. I mean, y'all check it out and y'all tell me, okay, maybe I'm tripping on this, right? So it says here, Carolyn and Nancy have already been involved in another controversy when they humiliated a car driver. So today's information is courtesy of the websites Metropol's, Estado de Minas, Portal Popline, and Ugia. So the video posted on TikTok was removed after a lawyer pointed it out as recreational racism. So these are the mother and daughter team of Nancy Gonçalves and Carolyn Cunha, right? Influencers Nancy Gonçalves and Carolyn Cunha, mother and daughter respectively, shared a video on TikTok in which they appear to deliver a stuffed monkey and bananas. Well, it looks like, from what I saw in the video, they presented a banana to one child, a black male, and a stuffed monkey doll to a black girl. After the repercussions, the video was deleted from the platform. The pair will be investigated by the Rio de Janeiro Civil Police. So, this goes to ask the question, okay, if you didn't do anything wrong, why did you feel the need to delete the video? In the video, Carolyn and Nancy asked the children whether they'd rather get a note of 10 reais, 10 real bill, or a gift, which is wrapped up. As expected, the children chose the present. And one of them is even embarrassed by the situation. So this is a headline from the G1 website. It says influencers are investigated for racial injury. In the recording, with an iconic or rather ironic tone present in other videos of the duo of influencers that accumulate 16 million followers on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, the first child even mentions that he didn't like the present, the quote unquote present, and is embarrassed by the situation. The second child takes the toy in her arms, appears to have been happy, and thanks, the woman for the present. So, here's the thing here. With the long history of comparing persons of African descent to monkeys and the connection that says, monkeys eat bananas, They didn't, I don't know how they can even play this off. It's like a sick type of humor, but you're not going to give, obviously they chose two black children to give a monkey and a banana to. You're not going to give it to white children because everybody in society knows that the running joke is that black people are compared to monkeys. So the very fact that they chose two black children to present such gifts, it clearly shows that they knew exactly what they were doing. Okay. I'm going to look at the video in a little while, just check it so you can see what happened here. But, this is everything you can see in the picture here. Let me see. Despite being removed from Carolyn and Nancy's TikTok, the video is still circulating on social media. So this is how it works in social media. If you put up some video and then you try to take it down, if people are offended or they like the video, whatever, even if that video disappears off of your platform, people have probably downloaded and saved it and shared it hundreds, if not thousands of times. So this is what happened in this case. They took the video down after the backlash, but it was too late. People had already seen it. They had already complained, filed complaints, and they started sharing this video on social networks. The anti-discrimination lawyer Fada Bello said on her social networks that the video features so-called recreational racism, which occurs when someone uses discrimination against black people for fun. So this is the lawyer, and I say she sees it as recreational racism. The lawyer expressed her sentiments this way. Can you measure the level of monstrosity that these two disinfluencers, she calls them, had by giving a monkey and a banana to two children and still posting this on social networks to their more than 13 million followers? To ridicule two black children, to incite this perverse discrimination that takes away our status as a person and animalizes us as if it were a joke. Okay. So, I'm going to play the video, of what was saved. This is what's circulating around on social networks before the two TikTok people, they took the video down, but people saved it and reposted it. And, people were outraged about this. So just check this video out real quick.
Ou presente. Você quer presente? Pode pegar, todo teu. Só isso? Gostou? Não. Olha direito, você gosta? Não. Gostou não? Não. É pra você escolher. Oi? E você prefere R$2 ou esse presentão aqui?
Presente.
Presente? Calma, é seu. Pode abrir. Tá. Quer um brinquedo?
Quero.
Tá. E aí?
So anyway, also according to the lawyer, the influencers can also respond for violating the moral integrity of minors, a crime provided for in the Statute of the Child and Adolescent. Okay. Bello is an expert on femicide and gender crimes, and she started out on the TikTok platform at the end of 2020 when the social network took off around the world. Her main talking points are social issues that are considered, quote unquote, taboo to society's more conservative side. Female independence, the rights of the LGBTQIA plus community, and other topics. I'm quite sure when people read this, they're going to come to a conclusion about what this woman stands for. But okay, in this case, she's talking about recreational racism. As such, many internet users began to call her the Brazilian Annalise Keating in reference to the iconic character in How to Get Away with Murder, played by Viola Davis. Obviously, Viola Davis seen in this picture here. Today, just on TikTok, Bello has more than 500,000 followers, amassing more than 6.5 million likes and several more million views. Again, another picture of the incident, presenting a banana to the black male child, and then the black girl, it's this nice, this obviously this colorful present. And then the girl opens it up and it's a stuffed monkey. Okay. No racism there, right? Let me see. The Police Department of Racial Crimes and Intolerance, which is known as DECRADI, opened an investigation to investigate the case. Fada, or her name might be pronounced Fida Bello, also filed a crime report with the Human Rights Coordination of the Public Ministry of Rio de Janeiro so that they can closely monitor this case. Now it's time to await the proceedings of the justice, the courts, so that they respond to the level of evil that has been done here, Bello added on her social networks. Until the publication of this report, neither of the two women, the mother and daughter duo, spoke out about the case. Following the repercussions, the Rio de Janeiro's public prosecutor's office, or MPRJ, received almost 700 complaints against the video posted on the social network TikTok, which shows influencers Carolyn Cunha and Nancy Gonzalez delivering a banana and a stuffed monkey to two Black children. There is no information about the exact location of the recordings. The agency confirmed that the news was distributed to the Second Prosecutor's Office of Specialized Criminal Investigation of the Capitol, which will analyze the case and take the appropriate measures. Capital City, just so you know, Rio de Janeiro is the capital city of the state of Rio de Janeiro, right? So this is not the first time this duo has generated some controversy. In 2021, Carolyn and Nancy engaged in another controversy by humiliating a car driver. They claimed that the man's vehicle had a rotten smell, and one even claimed that it was due to his hair, which was crespo, which means kinky curly in English. So apparently the car driver was also Black. So this is something that you just see go down in Brazil all the time. You know, it's a joke. You know, I even saw with this duo, apparently they said, oh, you're taking this joke, you're taking it out of context. But okay, when we see just numerous incidents of white Brazilians making jokes about Black people, using either calling them monkeys or throwing bananas at them, how was that taken out of context? I would love to see what their argument is here. Okay. So just so you get an idea, this is something that happens in Brazil all the time. You know, you skate under the racist radar for years, but you know, the internet has exposed this for everybody to read, you know, particularly if you're a reader in Portuguese. Just a couple of the headlines I have here on the blog. I could write about this every day because something like this happens every day. There has been an increase of African immigrants and Haitians and other Black people from different countries, you know, coming into Brazil, and they figured out like, oh, this is how white Brazilians treat us. Again, let me point out, I would never say that all white Brazilians are this way. I know quite a few white Brazilians who you would never perceive as having any type of racist sentiments, but this doesn't negate the ones that do. So I began to understand why my white friends always offered me bananas. So a Congolese immigrant details his experiences with racism in Brazil. This is a story. We're not all monkeys. This was a story having to do with an incident, again, on a European soccer field involving a Black player. That was such a ridiculous story. Brazilians, when there was a banana thrown at a Brazilian player over in Europe, back in Brazil, they started this campaign, said, you know, we are all monkeys. And people responded like, no, we're not all monkeys. And it was a campaign where all of these famous Brazilians were shown taking pictures with a piece of a banana in their hand. It's just like, that's why I said bananas, publicity, and a nation's peculiar way of dealing with racism. Again, another story there. Popular white comedian offers a Black man bananas to forget his racist jokes, the racism ingrained in Brazilian society. So all of these stories, here's another one. The games were never a comfortable space for Black people. At a Rio de Janeiro University law student games, bananas were thrown at Black students while others mimicked monkeys. Okay. So all of these stories that's in here mention either, you know, here's another one. In southern Brazil, a woman yells racial slur at Senegalese immigrants and throws bananas. Other woman apologizes and says, Brazilians are not like that. But I ask, really? This type of thing happens every day there, and you'll still have people defend like, you know, this Brazilians aren't all like this. And I agree with that. I'm not saying all are, but simply because all are not, that doesn't mean you can dismiss those who do act this way. I could go on. These are some of the articles where you see people have a penchant for calling Black people monkeys. Okay. Let me take a look at a couple of these articles here. 3 cases of Black racism. Well, this is mistitled, but just 3 cases of racism. Black citizens continue to be called monkey. It's something that happens every day. Let me see here. So all of these articles, whether it's in the title or not, all of these articles, the word monkey in a racist context comes up in these articles time and time again. Again, if you were to do just a search on this blog, you would just see all of this. It's absurd for people to continue to deny that this type of thing happens every day. Brazilian living in Canada calls couple's black daughter a monkey with horrible hair. Okay. Bleach bath, clothespins on the nose, and black monkey. Study exposes racism in interracial families, debunking one of Brazil's greatest myths. This is by the anthropologist I was saying, who was exposing how racist jokes and racist sentiments they actually exist inside multiracial families as well. Let me see. So if you were to just, like I say, if you were to just do a search on this blog using the keywords like monkey or banana, you would see just like a plethora of articles. As I'm saying, this is not an isolated incident, because it's too many Black Brazilians who have complained about how some white Brazilians treat them. It's ingrained in the culture. So let's just move on past this idea like, oh, everybody gets along in Brazil. We don't have cases like that happen in the United States. Like, internet says otherwise. So anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. We'd love to know your comments about this. Like this video, share this video, comment on this video. Definitely click on the notification bell so you'll be, alerted when I put up a new video. And with that said, I'm going to end this one and ask you to come back and tune in for my next video.